Hey guys, before we hop into your video, I wanted to tell you guys about my new partnership with BetterHelp. If you haven't heard of it, it's an online resource in which you can find your very own friendly local neighborhood therapist, no matter where you are in the world. You sign up, and within 24 hours, they match you with a licensed therapist that's right for you. And you can talk to your counselor every week via phone or video chat, and you also have the opportunity to text them in between sessions. As most of you guys know, I am also a licensed professional as well as a mental health advocate, and sometimes in these readings, very in-depth topics come up that are very intricately related to mental health, and it's for that reason that I offer this resource to you guys. And if you know anyone that can benefit from them, or if you yourself can benefit from them, I suggest you take advantage of them. The information to sign up will be in the description box below, but let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Leo and Sagittarius. Welcome to your March as above reading. I am Princess India, if you were new. If you were family, welcome back, my friend. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and jump into your cards. We're going to be looking at, okay. That was face up, your past energies. The first card that came out for your past influence energy is the Hanged Man in the reverse, or Gullah Jack, as we like to call them. It's not, we just going by what the deck says. Anyway, but it's the Hangman in the reverse. So what this is more or less saying to me is that coming into March, you guys are most certainly in a good place. If our clarifying card doesn't put us into a predicament to where this may be a level of stagnation you guys are experiencing, but it's more or less, my first inclination would be that coming into the month of March, you guys have been in a place of stagnation, but I feel that now, probably for the first time in some time, you guys are starting to feel a sense of clarity, or having somewhat of a clear idea of how it is that you want to move forward. The thing that's important to note that may help you kind of backtrack to clarify your trajectory moving forward is, most importantly, to take into account that you guys, well, I was about to say that in a way that I just got corrected. I was going to say that it was external circumstances that had you guys stuck, but the truth of the matter is that it seemed to be external circumstances, but, and this is coming into the energy I've been sensing all day today, it's important to really focus your attention and your energies on the byproduct of choices made, past tense, right? I've said in a lot of readings prior to you guys that where we stand today, I believe it was water signs, the last sign I said that with, where we stand today in our life, like literally at this very moment, it's a byproduct of choices that we have or have not made up to this point in our life. And we're in the present, we're living the love child or byproduct of choices that we've made previously. And it's important to keep that in mind. So things that happen are never happenstance. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. It's always a interconnectedness and a synchronicity that leads things to manifest the way that they do. It's never just happening out of nowhere, right? We can feel that way, but there's always a process that leads to everything. So it's more or less looking at life under the guise of a feedback loop. But the thing here, clarifying this energy in the past, this is more or less saying to me that what you guys have been focused on, or what it is you may have felt blocked in reference to, or the main central focus of a lot that you do, it's either you guys being very focused on stability, security, finances, family, building a legacy, anything around that arena. But I feel that it's more or less a sense of feeling that despite what it is that one is doing, it's feeling like that's somewhat out of reach, or working really, really hard and not seeing a lot of benefit, so to speak. But that being top of mind, is we're still coming into the month with this being the main focus. Not saying that's a good or bad thing, but I feel it's more or less what would help you with what you're aspiring to in the month of March, is to take into account how it is that you've been approaching things up to this point, like choices that you've been making. And if any way, shape, form, or fashion, that choices that you've made or a lack of clarity that you have going into situations, if that is potentially in any way undermining what you're trying to get accomplished here. For our overall or theme of the month, we have the Sun card and we have the Nine of Swords in the reverse. So this is a good thing. What this is saying to me is more or less, it's a lot of opportunities you guys are going to have this month to obtain what it is that you wanted. I feel that prior to this, timing was a factor. The timing just wasn't right. But I feel now things are working in your favor, at least energetically speaking. But what's of utmost importance individually, like how you can work in accordance with this energy, is of course keeping your mind fixated on what you're trying to achieve, being cognizant of the choices that you're making or any self-sabotatory behaviors or things of the sort. And also keeping your mental space in check. So if you can think positive, then you can catch the wave of this positive energy and cruise into what you're trying to accomplish this month. Now, the roadblock that we have the Two of Wands, and then we have the Judgment in the reverse. So this is kind of reiterating what I was saying. So if I were to take this template, proverbially speaking, and bring this back to like February, January, however far back you want to go for where this aligns with your life. What this would be saying to me is that it's not really so much of an issue of what you're doing per se, like what you're aspiring to. It's not really so much, and for some of you, it could literally be a lack thereof. So I'll say this two different ways. For some of you, it's a lack thereof of planning, right? Like, it's miscalculations. So I can aspire to leave a legacy for my children, to, pay off all of my debt, to make shit tons of money. You know what I mean? And I can work really hard to do that for 10, 20 years and feel that I've never gotten there, but never really stopped to intricately look at what or how I've been doing. Is just kind of taking it for face value of like, either this just isn't supposed to happen for me, or other people always get in the way of my success or what I'm trying to accomplish, whatever the case may be. But what I'm seeing, the roadblock with the Judgment in the reverse, it's saying that it's a misjudgment on your part, meaning that you're interpreting a situation in a way that is preventing you from moving forward. And that could be a myriad of different things. So like I said, it could be putting too much energy on other people being the issue, right? So it's kind of like challenging yourself. So it's the thought of like, every time I try to do something in life, it's like there's always people who are stopping me. And it's like, okay, so that's the reality that we're living in, right? We don't have control over other people. So if, and this is me being really extra, if everyone is out to get you and is trying to stop you from accomplishing things, it's like we can't stop them from being people who are trying to sabotage your success. But if we look at the fact of, all right, how do you typically respond to this? Is there any other way that we could respond? Right? As opposed to, just accepting that to be the reality that we live in. That's just the way that it is, and it's never going to change. So I feel that's something that would behoove you. Or if it's like nothing ever works out for me, still, we accept that's the reality that we're living in. Nothing ever works out for you. Totally get that. So now we still have a choice. It's like, if nothing ever works out for you, are you going to keep trying, or are you going to quit? Right? If you quit, then cool. All of this stuff we don't have to worry about. But if you still want to continue to move forward, then it's like, even though, stuff never ever works out for you, and we're going to be really delusional, and we're still going to try to progress, even though things never ever work out. So it's like, what can we do differently? Like, this is what we've done to get us here. And it's like, that stuff hasn't worked. So what is it that we can do differently? So there's a need to adopt
and I'm seeing this with the Nine of Swords in the reverse and the Sun card. It's like it's shifting one's perspective to look at things not necessarily from, even if, I mean, I would say blatantly it would be optimistic perspective, because it's a tendency to always see, you know, what's wrong with the situation, which isn't necessarily bad per se. I mean, I feel realism is a marriage between the two. It's like if you look at everything that could possibly go wrong or what's gone wrong in the past and keeping that in mind, but still believing that things could potentially work out for you on some stuff, you know, it's like keeping both of those mindsets in your head at once. I feel that's what births realism, because you're looking at realistic things that could go awry and you're preparing for that. You still have your idea in mind of what it is that you want to accomplish, but you're focusing more on where you're trying to go as opposed to stumbling blocks that you encounter on the path. Because what brings you through the challenges more or less is where it is that you're trying to go. But I feel that on you guys' journey, and especially with this block position, it's a miscalculation of challenges that you find. It's almost, if you think of obstacles and challenges in life, and I mean, even if you don't necessarily look at them as tests, but if you look at them as something to strengthen your resolve, you know what I mean? Or even if I were to just say how I look at it, it's like it's kind of just a part of life. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be a rhyme or reason. It's just that's kind of the pattern that life has a tendency to take. But I feel it's like you guys can be gassed up to do something, but the second that an obstacle is seen or there's opposition or something like that, it's more or less taken as like a bad omen or something that you fear and you inadvertently back down. So if I were to go back to the past influence energy, right? And to say what the pattern of behavior that I'm seeing, it would be self-sabotatory in a sense. And that's something that I've been seeing coming up in everybody's reading so far. It would be self-sabotatory in the sense that it's the individual that's backstepping. It's not really so much the circumstance, because challenges come. Like that's a part of life. It's not, you know, just your particular path where obstacles and challenges come, but it gives you an opportunity now to be innovative. Because if the end goal is the 10 of Pentacles, then it's like, even if I find myself in a situation temporarily where like it's not a clear pathway, it's like you get innovative and you start strategizing on how to get to your 10 of Pentacles. You know what I mean? And even looking at it with the Hanged Man position, it's like that's a card to me that's all about divine timing, but it's understanding how I've made choices and decisions that have led me to the place that I'm in. And as opposed to resisting the place that I'm in, I'm surrendering to the now. Like I'm here, you know what I mean? This is what's happening. And it's, you know, taking personal accountability to this is how I've had a hand in me getting to where I am, and accepting, okay, well, this is the consequence, whether it's a good consequence or a less than stellar consequence of my choices in accordance with other people's choices. And this is where I am now. So once that's accepted, divine timing more or less kicks in. When this proverbial gate opens, then you're able to continue on your path, right? And it's being optimistic and thinking positive, and then bam, you hit another obstacle. And it's not it doesn't behoove you to go back into the mindset of like, oh man, I just went through this and now there's another challenge. It's like, just accept that there's challenges. You know what I mean? It's not personal. It's not a personal attack. That's just life. Life is like that, you know? But it's like, it builds character and it builds strength when you allow yourself to get to a mindset to expect it, to expect opposition, to expect obstacles, to expect challenges, to expect disappointments, not in a pessimistic way, but in a very realistic way, because it's just life. It happens. You know what I mean? Even if you think about it like Wheel of Fortune kind of energy, it's like the wheel is always turning. So sometimes we're on the top, sometimes we're on the bottom, you know, and that's life keeps on spinning. So it's more or less, if that becomes a part of your ethos of understanding that's a fact of life, it seems, you know, at first listen like, oh, you know, pessimistic. No, it's very realistic. And it takes a lot of energy away from trying to avoid such obstacles, but it brings a skill set out of you to where you become a creative problem solver. And the thing is that this would go back to is, how bad do you want what it is that you're fighting to get? Because if you want it real bad, there's nothing that can really stand in your way. Now, the possibilities for the month, we have the 8 of Swords, and we have, that's funny. Then we have the Fool card. So, dude, literally, the possibility this month when you guys find yourself in this challenging position, this is kind of where the wheat gets separated from the tare, and this feels more middle of the month to me, maybe like around the late teens, early 20s of March, you know. But I feel the wheat gets separated from the tare because it's almost like a rehearsal of something that's occurred in your recent past, meaning like February or January. And it's kind of like there was one situation that was a block. You made it out of that. Then you got hella optimistic and you're like, I'm going to hit my goal. And then you run into another one. And what this block is asking you to do, what would behoove you to do, whether this is a person, situation, circumstance, what have you, is to remind yourself of where you're going, what you're doing. So whatever your end goal is, and to see the situation for what it literally is and to strategize to get to what it is that you set out to get to. But I feel that the root of all of this, it centralizes in one's mind. There's an inability to see those options, like where this misjudgment of things comes from is being stuck in one's head limits the options and possibilities that you really have available to you. So it's more or less liberating yourself from your own mental prison, right? Because it's either disaster thinking or self-loathing or anxiousness and worry and all this other kind of stuff. It's all of these energies that come in that block your sight. But I feel all of this goes back more or less to a belief, like what one believes about themselves or life. And that's something that you really want to recheck. And I only say that because it hinders you if the way that you perceive life is a very defeatist kind of thing. Like if one feels that, you know, nothing ever works out for them, everything is against them, everything is in opposition to them, or I can't trust people, nothing ever works out for me. And if it's a very defeatist mindset like that, it makes life more difficult for you because everything is going through that filter. So where there could be, you know, 4 different options, like you find yourself at at a block in your life, and there could be 4 different options of what you could do to get to your end goal. And because you're so focused on the block, you know, you can't see, what is that quote? You can't see the forest beyond the tree. It's like you're walking on a path and you hit a tree and it's like, oh my God, there's a tree here. And I knew it when I was on the path just now, there was another tree. And I stood at that tree for 20 years. And then I finally find my way around that tree. And then 3 miles down the road, there's yet another tree here. And it's focusing on that and never thinking you can take 1 step back, you can step to the left, or you can step to the right. You can walk around the tree. You could climb the tree. But it's just focusing on the tree, right? So it's all a mindset thing. But it's like if you believe that when trees, proverbially speaking, are found upon your path, that it's some type of conspiracy or you know, life never works out for you. It's like, if you're focusing on all of that, it's like all that energy is literally being spent on stuff we already know, you know? Because I'm not even going to tell you to change your belief unless you want to. But I mean, if you believe that everything works out that way, it's like, okay, well, that is true. It's like all of the trees everywhere globally, it's like they're all in opposition to you. So they're all in cahoots and they have secret meetings to make sure that they end up growing up on your path, right? So it's like, so that is happening. But it's like, but what are you going to do about it? Because we need to know, like, we know that the trees are doing this, you know? So it's like, since they are, what can you do with us knowing that these trees are in opposition to you getting to where it is you're trying to go? Because there's a way to outsmart them. You feel what I'm saying? So it's more or less shifting your perspective a little bit and working with what you have, but making sure that you don't give up on what you want, and you find more innovative ways to still get to what it is that you're trying to do, taking into account. And I think it's interesting, Spirit is having me tell you guys that way, because my typical approach to things is, let's get to the root of the core belief and change the belief if it's not behooving you. But I think the beautiful thing with this is because, you know, a lot of times with core beliefs, it's very difficult for people to get to the root of them. So I think this is an interesting way to approach it, in the sense that you can't even use that you don't know what the false core belief is anymore. It's like, regardless if it's a false core belief or not, you know, it's like, believe whatever it is you want to believe about life, you know, but it's like, let your belief serve you, in the sense that if it is a conspiracy and everyone is against you and everyone is trying to stop you from being who it is that you are, like, let's just accept that that is the truth. Like, that's really what's happening right now. But taking that into account, if we know this is what always happens, if you really want to get to this end goal, what can we do? And what do we have control over, despite all of this stuff that is orchestrated to be in direct opposition to your success, in so many words? So you guys can go ahead and ask a yes or no question. And then I'm going to throw the dice that have no name. And I'm going to pull the cards for Leo and for Sagittarius reading over on Vimeo. We have the X, we have Pisces, we have Yes in a Few Weeks, we have Gemini, and we have Rising. The X, Pisces, Gemini, Rising, and Yes in a Few Weeks. And we're going to throw the dice that has no name, my friends. I don't know what planet that is. Oh no, that's a zodiac sign. What is that? Is that Virgo? That looks so weird. Yeah, that is Virgo. That don't look right. I can't say nothing. These are dice. And then we have the North Node, and then we have the number 11. That looks so weird. Is that Virgo? Don't talk about me, y'all. That looks so strange. Oh, child, no. That's Capricorn. That looks so strange. It looks like a V and an S. Okay, let's go with it. The North Node in Capricorn. I don't think, do I have anything that's written on that? I'm not sure. I feel like we just talked about this. We just talk about this. I'm asking this to myself. I'm thinking in the Couture group, I think we just talked about, did we talk about a North Node in Capricorn? I don't know. I'm gonna see if I have anything on it. If I do have anything on hand for it, I'll talk about it in the extended, but I cannot remember off of the top of my head. I know it has something to do with organization and structure. and logistics and things of the sort. But anywho, but with North Node, it says, oh, wow, that's funny. With North Node, it says you're now learning something new about your destiny, where you're going, what you're developing that will carry you forward, your legacy. And I would say if you guys are a North Node in Capricorn, or whatever your North Node is in your birth chart, my best advice would be to look into that, because that's more or less what you want to aspire to. Your South Node are the things that are comfortable to you, your comfort zone. And it's easier for you to stay in those behavioral patterns. And it's a challenge of personal growth to start to align with North Node energies. And looking at it in a sense of an oracle kind of sense, if you look at the North Node and Capricorn, the characteristics of that or the energies one would be aspiring to with a North Node in Capricorn, that can be something that would behoove you all this month, in the month of March, is taking on those characteristics or applying those characteristics in your life. And then we have the number 11, because that's confirmation for me in reference to what you guys are working on. Because I feel like with that 10 of Pentacles and with the North Node coming out, you guys are really aspiring to build something or to establish yourself, you know? And you want to get as much information as you can to be able to overcome roadblocks, because that is a part of the path. They're not the best part of the path, but they're a part of the path. And you don't want to allow that to discount you from what you're trying to aspire to. So the major arcana to, wow, that's funny, to meditate on this month is the Justice card, as well as the High Priestess. And it says, where are you manifesting from? That's where that whole core belief thing comes in. And then taking into account that the Justice card also speaks of principles. Like if you think of every philosophy and every theory, like school of thought, is supported by principles. So each thought has principles. And these principles are things that you would want to apply to your life in order to live out this theory, in so many words, right? So it's like your practical action steps of how to live out this particular idea or ethos, right? So that's something you guys would want to take into account is, you know, whatever it is that you believe about life, whatever your belief system is, and not necessarily always in a spiritual sense, it's just whatever you believe about life. It's like, are you applying the principles of that belief? Do you know the principles of that belief? Have you ever even questioned, did you know that all, you know, schools of thought had principles? You know, and those are things that you would want to apply to your life. And also with justice, it's knowing cause and effect. So it's understanding that every choice has consequences, whether that's for good or for bad, and to be aware of that and understand how all of these things work together to create our daily experiences of what we call life, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and pull the cards for the extended reading. I'm going to start with Leo and then Sagittarius. Ooh, okie dokie. First card for Leo is the Queen of Wands in the reverse. Then we have the Ace of Wands in the reverse. Then we have the Three of Wands in the reverse. And then we have the Ten of Swords. That's a lot of Wands energy. And then I'm going to pick you guys hidden enemy or pattern. Oh, wonderful. We have the fuck boy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for gracing us with your beautiful presence, fuck boy. It's been so long. How you been? How your mom and them? You know what I'm saying? Then we're going to pick you guys Black Mirror Oracle. I'm so tripped out. We have the Temple of My Body. Fascinating. Oh, Leo. I feel like this is about to get very interesting. Now for my Saggies, first card for Sagittarius, please spit it. Let's go with it. Let's go with it. First three cards for Sagittarius, we have the King of Wands in the reverse, the Page of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, Sag. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Six of Wands in the reverse. Then we have the Tower. Oh my goodness, Sag. And your hidden enemy or behavior pattern, all that good stuff. Wow. This has never come up either. The Programmer. What's up with these dudes? And your Black Mirror Oracle. I know you lying. What's up with y'all in the number 3, Sagittarius? What's up with that? You got 3 cards that fell out first. The Programmer, you guys' hidden enemy card is a number 3. And then 3 oracles came out. And just because of that, we got 333 going on. Just because of that, I'm going to take all of these. And we have I Won't Cry for You, Queen of My World, and Hiding Your True Self. Interesting. 22, 24, and 14. Interesting. Okay. This is interesting. All right. Leo and Sagittarius, I'm going over to my website or Vimeo, wherever you're watching me at, to do you guys extended. You can follow me over there if you're about that life. If not, that's totally cool. I still love your freaking face, but I will see you guys sooner than later. This is me.